Hello Chipsters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're looking at a final reveal. I have shown you the odd ongoing work progress on these Tommy's War figures. Now the idea with this is, this one, the box says Private 8th Battalion, Tank Corps Amiens 1918, so that will be the guy you'll see in the overalls. Back in 2019, before the plague arrived, I went to Telford with a guy called Mick. Mick would kindly, I've got a smashed head and it takes a lot for me to really get out of the house, so he more or less came holding my hand to go to Telford in 2019, which was very good of him. Mick's got a YouTube channel, but I think he's really walked away from it all. He'd said to me he wasn't feeling it for painting his War Games figures and things like that. Fair play. So we haven't really been in much contact. We saw each other last year in between all the lockdowns, because I painted some figures for him, but we haven't really been in contact since then. So I texted him or WhatsApped him out of the blue and just said, I've got these figures. I promised him, and Gav tries to keep his promises, not always, and I try not to actually promise anything. If you don't promise, it's not such a bad problem if you don't deliver. But I'd said to him, all right then, let's roll back again. See, this is the problem with the head. 2019, we go to Telford. I planned, Mick had showed me his, we used to chat on Skype, he'd showed me his granddad's medals. His granddad was a driver in the Royal Armoured Corps, or Tank Corps as it was then. He was a driver on I believe, those Mark 1 tanks. I'm not exactly sure if it was the Whippets, the Mark 1s, the females, the males, whatever, but he was a driver on them, and I think he'd won the military medal as well, and obviously Mick's very proud of that. And he showed me I believe he showed me a photograph as well, and I thought, Mick was always doing stuff for me, and I thought it would be great if I could paint him a couple of these Tommy's War figures, because as you know, I like these figures. I like the Great War, and I don't think the lads fighting in it liked it, but and I thought, I'm Tommy's War bound to have some tanker figures, and I'll paint him a figure up, and put it at the side, obviously I'm going to replicate his granddad, but it will represent what he did. And of course we get to Telford, and there's loads of these figures, and I couldn't see any Tank Corps. And Darren, who owns and runs, it's only a little business, Tommy's War. We said to him, "Do you have any Tank Corps figures?" He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've not got any cast. It's on the to-do list to do." He said, "But obviously there's so many units in the Great War. It's just when I can get round to doing them." Well, lo and behold, I don't know if it was last year he brought them out, or even 2020. I'm not sure, but he'd had them cast done. I bought the one figure, which is the Corporal pointing, which we'll see in a minute, and I have shown before. And I think I said at the time, I'd only ever planned to do one figure, and then I realised that the Corporal's going like this. It's like to who? So it turned out that these are often, although they're sold separately, when he shows them on his website, Darren, they're shown together, the two Tank Corps figures. I thought, fair enough, I'll have to get another one. As you guys know, I'd planned to do, and the marrow of the channel, Greg Riley, as you all know Greg, he'd made me up some corrugated sheet, because I was going to do a wall section like I didn't want to do a Great War trench or anything like that. But in 54mm, which these figures are, I've still got the pieces in the box. I'll probably recycle with something else, including obviously Greg's metal, because he's got one of these metal shaping corrugated doobies. I'm pointing like this in the figures room. It was just getting monumental, and that's, you can get away with it for a diorama, I suppose, or for something you're really going to show off. But for somebody that you're giving away as a gift, they might not have the space for some A4 size diorama in the end. And I thought, this is ridiculous. They really just need to go on a plinth. So talk about being brought down in scale when you see it in a minute. Although you've probably seen the thumbnail by now. we've drastically reduced the size of the project. But it's done. Both figures were really nice to do. As most figures are with the Tommy's War, you might need to do a tiny bit of filling around some arm joints. That's nothing that you wouldn't get on most resin figures. You know, there's always somewhere that normally needs just a bit of filler in. But apart from that, they were fine. I'm trying to think, was there any other problems particularly? I don't think there was. No. What I've tried to do with these figures, the story behind it is the corporal's come down from battalion HQ and he's all clean, fresh face and everything, and the private, he's in his tank corps overalls, he's got his oil on, he could be a driver, he could be a gearsman, he could be one of the gunners, and they've obviously been tasked with moving dozens and dozens of boxes, and the corporal's obviously telling this fella who's I've tried to put the face not grimy but not as shiny as the corporal's. I'm just trying to show him looking. The corporal's pointing to him. The guy's just staring away. He's got a fag cupped in his hand, and I've got a couple of boxes to represent what they were doing. So that's the idea. Take it or leave it. Put your own interpretation on it. But yeah. Let's go down to the bench, guys. So yeah, I'm just stoked I finally got this done. I've got to put a little sticker on of some description when my wife's down at sisters for a couple of days. So yeah, she's going to do me when she gets back. She's going to do me a sticker to put on the front, just to say what it is really. Obviously nickel now, but yeah, as I say, he's been contacted and he'd love to have them. So I'll just crossing. I've never sent anything of these type of things, on plinths and that. I've never sent them through the post before, so this is going to be the wrapping. Never mind the actual of them getting there. Is going to be slightly scary. I'll be glad to know if they arrive in one piece. But yeah, it's been the plinth is from Oakland. Sorry to the guys hang on a minute, if I remember rightly, there's a sticker on the bottom. Oh, there is as well, and I haven't got my glasses on. Let's have a look. Oakwood Studios, the bases are from. Well, at least I've managed to tip the figures upside down and they didn't fall off. Right, guys, let's go down to the bench and take a look. Right, guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. This is an unashamed plug for Tommy's War. Now I've got nothing to do with these guys. I don't paint for them. I bought these figures myself. Obviously the plinth is bought by myself, but Darren does a cracking job, does some really good service. I like his figures, and as I've always said to you guys, it's on this side, I just think if you can help somebody like Tommy's War out by giving them a shout out when everything's going right, then yeah, I think you should do. So there you go. Give Tommy's War a look, and there's the again there's the website. Right, here we go. Let's just move this up slightly. I've got a fair amount of lights on the subject at the moment, so let's find a pointy stick as well. Right, here we go. So before we go on to the figures, the base is just some milliput. When I was talking about putty on my last video, was it? And I couldn't think what milliput was the word I was after. Milliput, sand, light grit. I just wanted to show some cobblestones with a fair bit of muck where they've all been walked over and things like that. So this is, in a rear area. I made the boxes up, not very good I know, but I made the boxes up out of plasticard, which is why I've got a tarp over one of them. The tarp is just loo roll, loo paper I should say, just PVA'd. I hold it down and then just PVA it, and it's obviously quite soft and it tacks on quite well. I put some blue foam and just carved out some boxes. Again, they're just helping to tell a story. So I put a bit of covers like a tarp or something that would have been covered over. Obviously, the box lid's missing. So yeah, that's that bit. Let's have a look at our figures. I'll do some photographs. They'll only be through the camera, but they'll be the video camera, but they'll be better than nothing. Let's see if that turning this one off. Not sure if that really helps, but yeah, hopefully the photographs will be better. So the corporal's quite tidy, as NCOs that can give orders and not have to actually do the work tend to be. And the private's a bit more mucked up. As I say, I've tried to put his face slightly darker, used a couple of different skin tones than the corporal, just to show somebody who's well and truly hacked off. You know? And we've got oil on the actual overalls themselves and grease marks and that. I've been inside. I think I'm not sure if it's a replica that they've got inside the tank museum, where you can walk around it. Well, you shuffle around it, and it really is tight. You know, I can understand these guys getting really mucked up with all the oil and grease and everything, and the fumes from the working environment that they're in. I'll put a bit of pigment right at the end over the cobbles. I have actually painted the cobbles different colours in that, and I'll brush some. I keep saying to you guys, I've only got one pigment, Syrian earth, and it gets used for everything. But I just wanted it to tie in the boots and everything on the figures a bit more. Put some grease on his bum where he's been sat down, or you know, perched on some equipment inside the tank. But it also gives you a good representation of how the different tank corps looked. So you know, obviously they both carry self-defense pistols. They would often detach the Lewis or the Hotchkiss machine guns, and if the tank was knocked out and there were any of them left, and they would help support the infantry and protect their tank while they could with the Lewis. You know, detach machine guns and fight with them. But obviously the pistols are for self-defense. The lanyard, you'll have to do your own lanyard, and most of them did have a lanyard, and that's just lead wire, if I remember rightly, that I put round his neck, and it's not painted as rope. It's like I'm not sure what it is, to be honest with you, but it's you do see rope lanyards, but the ones I'd seen in the photographs and examples that still exist, it's like a coating over the top of it. He's got his respirator, the corporal, so his gas mask. The goggles that he's got over have got steel across them, and just literally like they're made up of like slats, and also they will have hooks for the chainmail to hang down. They'd have like a chainmail visor, because what would happen is Germans would use armor piercing machine gun bullets, armor piercing high caliber, large caliber, you know, almost like a 50 caliber, like a Barrett Light 50 sniper rifle that you'd have. These, you know, they'd use these type of Great War versions to pierce the tank. And even if they didn't, just hitting them on the outside, the amount of rivets, just like a World War II tank, the amount of rivets, bits of rust, bits of metal, that would do more damage to a crew than a direct hit sometimes. So particularly all of them, but particularly the drivers would wear these chainmail visors that would hang off these goggles. So he's got those put on there. He's got his long service chevrons on here. This guy's obviously a fairly simple you know, the figure to paint uniform wise. There's not a lot you can do with it. You can make this overalls, they were a lot darker, but they were also lighter like this, and I just fancied doing the lighter one so it wouldn't clash so much with his leather webbing. So yeah, 54mm resin. As I say, I don't think that I had particularly any problems. I don't think I had to trim anything off. If you remember rightly, when I did do the yeomanry fighting the Turkish figure was missing a piece of, it hadn't been moulded on by the look of it, or it'd come off in the casting process. I don't know, but he'd lost a piece of webbing. But I think these pair were perfect. I don't think there was anything that needed to be done extra than what you'd normally clean them up. So yeah, thanks for stopping by and taking a look. These will be on their way to Mick. I might hold them back till after the Christmas rush. I'm really having cat on hot bricks now if they're going to actually turn up, in one piece. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I apologise. I didn't put a voltage of painting video up only because the neighbours, or 2 or 3 houses away, were having the drive pulled up and re-tarmacked, and it's taken all week. And there's been literally, obviously, mechanical digger sounds and everything, and it just wasn't worth trying to speak over it. Really, it was that loud. So yeah, I'll be getting a voltage video out. Might even do it tomorrow actually to try and catch up. But we'll get that done. And what else have we got coming up? I keep threatening the 6 mils. The 6 mils now are finally done. So they're going to go through the basing process soon. I have 2 figures of chasseurs, 2 units of chasseurs, which are stuck down, and they're about to be sanded, and so they should be ready once I've shown the client. I'll put a video up towards the end of the week on that, of all 4 units together. I'm already painting his grenadiers for him. I've started painting another 30-year war figure for Mez, one of the mounted figures. So that's being done as well in the background over the next few nights. I was going to show I've got the 2 mounted figures painted, but I was going to show them, and I thought, well, no, you might as well just see all 4 of them together. So I'm waiting to just paint all 4 of them before they get a video. Tanks put some oil work on the 1 in 35 scale Sherman. That probably won't get a video until the weekend. So yeah, there's things coming up, things to be shown. So look after yourselves. I've got to do that shout out. I wanted to do me end of the year shout out to the guys I want to shout. So we'll try and get that sorted this week, get it done, so I know I've done it, because you know what I'm like, I'll forget. So look after yourselves. I hope everything's going well with you, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.